Jai Gurudev. So has everybody done their homework? I don't see all thumbs up, huh? Thumbs down. Okay, okay. Then we'll quickly read through the story, okay? They are anyway stories only. I just told you to read this story. It's similar to Vikram and Betal stories we had done when we were maybe in school. So it's a similar story of a vampire. So who's going to start reading? Okay.
Vasistha continued. That is known as moksha or liberation. When ignorance ceases through self-enquiry, when the jiva becomes no jiva instantly, and when the mind becomes no mind. In this connection, O Rama, listen to the following inspiring and enlightening questions asked by a vampire. There lives a vampire in the Vindhya forest. Once it entered a certain territory, desirous of appeasing its hunger. However, it would not kill anyone even when it was hungry, unless the victim deserved such treatment. Finding no such person in the forest, it entered a city and met the king. The vampire said to the king, "O king, I shall ask you a few questions. Give me the correct answers to them. What is that sun, the particles of whose rays are these universes? In what mighty wind does this mighty space manifest? One goes from one dream to another dream ad infinitum, yet one does not abandon the self, though constantly abandoning the dream reality. What is the self? The stem of a banana tree, when it is opened, reveals layers after layers until you reach the pith. What is that subtle essence when this world appearance is similarly inquired into? Of which atom are the universes themselves minuter atoms? In what formless rock are the three worlds hidden, like an unsculpted figure in a rock? Answer these questions. If you do not, you certainly deserve to be eaten by me." The king answered, "O vampire, this universe was once enveloped by a series of coverings, even as a fruit is enveloped by skin. There was a branch on which there were thousands of such fruits. There was a tree with thousands of such branches, a forest with thousands of such trees, a hill with thousands of such forests, a country with thousands of such hills, a continent with thousands of such countries, a sphere with thousands of such continents, an ocean with thousands of such spheres, a being with thousands of such oceans within him, and a supreme person who wears thousands of such beings as a garland. There is a sun in whose rays thousands of such supreme persons are found. That sun illumines all. That sun is the sun of consciousness. O vampire, in that light of that sun, these universes are but the minutest atomic particle. It is because of the light of that sun that all these other things enumerated appear to be real. In the Supreme Self shine as dust particles, substances, concepts or relative realities known as time, space, and motion, which are conscious, movement in and of consciousness, and pure intelligence. This world appearance is but the flesh in which the truth, which is pure consciousness, is clothed. Having heard this answer from the lips of the king, the vampire became silent and deeply contemplative. O Rama, like the king Bhagirath, you will achieve the impossible if you are able to remain firm in your knowledge of the truth, and if you engage yourself in appropriate action in a life characterized by effortless experiencing of the natural course of events.
Okay. So most of it is all poetic. Yeah. We look at the first sutra, which is highlighted there. That is known as moksha or liberation when ignorance ceases through self-inquiry. When the jiva becomes no jiva instantly and the mind becomes no mind. So this is a continuation from the previous page. You remember where he spoke about attain one of the three things. Either you be totally dedicated to one thing, or you manage complete restraint of prana, or you manage complete cessation of the mind. If you achieve one of the three, yeah, the other two will fall into place. You will achieve a state of no mind. Yeah, you remember we spoke about that in the previous page. So this is a continuation. Referring to that state of no mind, he is saying that is known as moksha or liberation. So basically, when you reach that state where there is no mind, where there is absolute cessation of thoughts and emotion, you come to that point where there is no more raga, no more dvesha. And no more raga and dvesha means no more bondage or coming back into body again and again. Yeah? When you are released from this cycle, as in, if you wish, you can come. If you wish, you don't come. Yeah? There is no more bondage to come back on account of your raga and dvesha. Yes? So that release from this bondage is known as moksha or liberation. Got it? Ignorance ceases there through self-inquiry. How do you reach this state? Only through self-inquiry. Yeah? He's very clear about it. Last week we spoke about it in one level deeper. Yeah? Self-inquiry is not just intellectual. Yeah? In meditation, when I learn to withdraw from this physical world and I go within, I am lost in the mental world or in the chittakasha. Then from the chittakasha also, I manage to take one more step back and establish in the silence. Yeah? The body goes on with its functions. The mind goes on. But I am established. Yeah. Today's meditation was similar. Yeah, where Guruji said the same thing, that the body is functioning and the mind is going on, but I am somewhere absolutely silent. Yeah. So that was an appropriate meditation for this verse today. Only through self-inquiry, this process of dropping, oh, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the emotions, I am not the intellect, and actual experiencing that happens through meditation. That is the deeper level of self-inquiry. Got it? It's not just intellectual. Intellectually, I can say anything and understand it intellectually, but it's not my experience. My faith is not established. It is blind faith. Yeah? Just because so and so person says, I believe it, or because Ekta says, I believe it, or because Guruji says, I believe it. This is blind faith. This is not your experience. You are believing what Ekta is saying. It is not Sakul's experience. Sakul has to have faith in what Sakul experienced. That is why self-inquiry is a must. Understood? Yeah. I just took Sakul's name. Each one of you, Yeah, Shalini has to see that Shalini does not indulge in blind faith. Yeah, there is that faith shakes. One thing, Shalini's friend will come and say, "Arey, what you're doing rubbish, don't listen to Ekta, all nonsense." Finish. Shalini starts shaking. Her faith is gone in Ekta. Yeah, few more days, she says, "Okay, forget, drop out of Yoga Vasistha." Then she realizes, oh, the mind is all over the place. I'm not feeling as good I was feeling when I was doing knowledge. Yeah, then she comes back. And this is shaky faith. Nahi chalega. Yeah, Vasistha says, take one step into experiencing. So don't believe Ekta. Yeah, Shalini must work to believe her own experience. Got it? And her own experience will happen when Shalini sits down and actually recognizes, oh, I'm not the body. In this meditation, somewhere I was deep inside. Yeah? This happens easier in silent meditations. Because in guided meditations, you get, your mind is working, your mind is listening to the words. So you're mostly in Chittakasha, you're at a superficial level. Yeah, that is why Gurudev has given us the Sahaj mantra, or we've done silent meditations also, where we just go deep within ourselves. You can go deeper than Chittakasha only in a silent meditation. Yeah, that's where the actual self-inquiry starts, of going beyond the mind and recognizing, oh, I'm not this chit-chat mind. Oh, I'm not that memory which suddenly brings up something, because I can see it, I can witness it. Oh, I'm not that ego. I'm somewhere deep. That ego is somewhere superficial. Yeah? This must happen in experience. So the experience of self-inquiry is equal to meditation. Clear? That is when the jiva becomes no jiva instantly, and when the mind becomes no mind. Clear? The first sutra is clear. And then he goes on to tell the story of the vampire who would eat the king if the king did not answer. Yeah, so it is all very poetic. Basically, he's asking him, who is the supreme personality, or what is the highest in this existence? And the answer is the consciousness. Yeah, it's mentioned in a very poetic manner. Why? To enumerate the truth that the way you and I, mere mortals like us, see the world is a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. Yeah, so that's exactly how it is explained here. That there was this tree on which there were these 1,000 branches, and then there were these thousands of trees on hills, and then there were thousands of such hills in a land. Yeah, so this is a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. So they just adopted that kind of poetry to bring out that truth. We'll go directly to the last but one paragraph on this page. Yeah. In the Supreme Self shine as dust particles substances known as time, space, and motion. Yeah. Time is a creation of matter. If you get out of the bondage of this body, you get out of Prakriti, the time changes. There is nothing like time really on the other side. So it is a creation of this matter for this matter. Yeah? Because after all, sun is also matter. Sun rises and sun sets. Yeah? Moon is also matter. It comes out at night and it's gone during the daytime. Yeah? So time is a creation of matter. Time is a creation for matter. It does not exist on the other side. Similarly, space We experience space. You are sitting in Cincinnati. I am sitting in Chicago. Yeah. We think that there is distance. At an eagle's eye view, there is hardly any distance. Even with the height of where planes fly, there is hardly any distance between you and me. Yeah. So even space or distance is relative. Yeah. And Einstein spoke about this. He took it further and he said there is no separation of space and time. It is one and the same, space-time. Yeah. And he said this so many years ago. So if you've not read about it, you can look it up on Google. Space-time is an interesting phenomena, explained very beautifully. Space, time and motion, which are conscious, movement in consciousness and movement of consciousness. Yeah, that which is written in the bracket is movement in and of consciousness. Means what? Prakriti vibrates within consciousness. Yeah, so it is movement in consciousness. And what is Prakriti really? It's nothing but consciousness itself. So it is also movement of consciousness. Yeah? And it is pure intelligence. This world appearance is but the flesh in which the truth, which is pure consciousness, is clothed. Very beautiful answer he gave. So obviously when the vampire heard this, he was very happy and he said, like Bhagirath, you also move on to higher truth. Now see, this king has given this answer. Intellectual answer this is. Are you getting this? It is still not the king's experience. The king is still not enlightened. That is why the vampire blesses him that may you, like Bhagirath, reach there. Reach the highest truth. And how will you reach there? He says, O Rama, like the king Bhagirath, you will achieve the impossible if you are able to remain firm in your knowledge of the truth and if you engage yourself in appropriate action. Characterized by effortless experiencing of the natural course of events. What is this? Perfect. Yeah, spontaneous action, being a sakshi. Yeah? So he's saying, number one, you have to be established in your knowledge. Yeah? We can move away from knowledge. One little incident in life, one little thing which is not so pleasant, what it does to you, you go down. Finish, all knowledge is gone out the window. Yeah? One little thing it takes for you to get away from knowledge. So he's saying, no. Whether there is joy in life or there is sadness in life, your graph will not go up and down. You just remain established in knowledge. This is number one. And number two, every action that you do, it should be spontaneous. Being a witness to every action. Then only you will reach the highest possible truth like King Bhagirath. Clear? This story is clear? Now we move on to Bhagirath's story on page 286. Who's going to read now?
I can read.
Okay.
At Rama's request, Vasistha narrated the following story. Once upon a time, there was a king named Bhagirath, who was devoted to dharma. He gave liberal gifts to the pious and holy ones, and he was terror to the evildoers. He worked tirelessly to eradicate the very causes of poverty. When he was in the company of the holy ones, his heart melted in devotion. Bhagirath brought the holy river Ganga from the heavens down to the earth. In this, he had to encounter great difficulties and propitiate the gods Brahma and Shiva, and also the sage Janu. In all this, he suffered frequent frustrations and disappointments. He too was endowed with discrimination and dispassion, even at an early age, O Rama. One day, while remaining alone, he reflected thus: the worldly life is really senseless and stupid. Day and night chase each other. People repeat the same meaningless actions again and again. I regard only that as proper action, which leads to the attainment beyond which there is nothing to be gained. The rest is repeated foul excretion, as in cholera. He approached his guru, Tritala, and prayed, Lord, how can one put an end to this sorrow and to old age, death, and delusion which contribute to repeated birth here? Tritala said, sorrow ceases, all the bondages are rent asunder, and doubts are dispelled when one is fully established in the equanimity of the self for a long time, when the perception of division has ceased, and when there is the experience of fullness through the knowledge of that which is to be known. What is to be known? It is the self which is pure and which is of the nature of pure consciousness, which is omnipresent and eternal. Bhagirath asked, I know that the self alone is real and the body, etc. are not real, but how is it that it is not perfectly clear to me? Tritala said, such intellectual knowledge is not knowledge. Unattachment to wife, son, and house, equanimity in pleasure and pain, love of solitude, being firmly established in self-knowledge, this is knowledge. All else is ignorance. Only when the ego sense is thinned out does this self-knowledge arise. Bhagirath asked, since this ego sense is firmly established in this body, how can it be uprooted? Tritala replied, by self-effort and by resolutely turning away from the pursuit of pleasure, and by the resolute breaking down of the prison house of shame, falsely dignity, etc. If you abandon all this and remain firm, the ego sense will vanish and you will realize that you are the Supreme Being.
Okay. So I won't read the first two paragraphs. Bhagirath brought down Ganga. We've all learned this story when we were kids. Yeah. The most important part is where he starts reflecting. Paragraph 3, second sentence. This worldly life is really essenceless and stupid. Day and night chase each other. People repeat the same meaningless actions again and again. Homework number 1 for you. Have you realized this? You have been repeating the same things again and again and again since you were a kid. When you went to teenage, same things. You came to adulthood, you got married. Some of you have had children, some haven't. But still you're repeating the same thing, and the same thing continues. We think that this will bring some variety in life. That's why you really run after one job. Then you get bored in that same job. You don't realize what you're really getting bored of. You think, I will change this job, I'll get more money, something will change, environment will change, I'll feel better. You change that job. After a few days, the same story repeats. You do this for jobs, you do this for little aspirations. First you run behind a car, then you run behind a home, you run behind diamonds, you run behind beautiful things, beautiful girls, handsome men. The same running tendency of the mind is a disease. recognize this disease. That disease is what is the problem. The problem is not the car, the job, the wife, the husband, the child, the money. All this is not important. This running tendency in the mind is the cause of the main problem for all of us. So homework number 1, have you recognized this yet? Or are you still enjoying this world? Yeah. If you're still enjoying, no problem. Keep enjoying, it's okay. Yeah. But one day you will get tired. Yeah. And recognize that. A wise one is the one who recognizes, oh, I have come to that point where I'm experiencing saturation in life. And he acknowledges the truth as it is. A fool wants to cover it up. A fool wants to say, oh no, I have to do something to change this. I have to go out and watch a movie. Oh, I have to change the way I'm thinking. I have to do something. I need a road trip. I need to go out with friends. You know, the mind wants to cover up the truth. The truth is that I am experiencing saturation. And be with it. It will burn you. Burn with it. Be ready to burn with it. When you actually burn through it and come on to the other side, then this feverishness, this tendency of running in the mind will drop. Then things will just happen on their own. Yeah. If you were listening to today's Hindi meditation very carefully, towards the end, Gurudev said, let things happen as they happen. I just am. Yeah. It's a beautiful meditation. It's actually Sakshi Bhav put into words. Yeah. You just are. But this right now is only words. For you it is Ekta's experience. For you it is Gurudev's experience. But it is not your own experience. So for your own experience, what do you have to do? Go through that burning sensation, that burning period. When that realization hits home, I am saturated. And nothing in this world can satisfy me. And this is a very painful realization. Yeah? And the mind does not want to accept this very easily. Yeah? The mind wants to run away. Yeah? So check. For people who have been on the path of knowledge, this happens very, very often. Yeah? So homework number 1 is, check, are you tired? Yeah. And number 2, if this saturation comes up, be ready to burn through it. Don't try to run away. Yeah. Bhagirath came to this. He says, day and night chase each other. People repeat the same meaningless actions again and again. I regard only that as proper action which leads to the attainment beyond which there is nothing to be gained. Yeah, that's the supreme attainment. After that, there is nothing to be gained. There will be no more desire left. Yeah. Then if things come, they come. They don't come, they don't come. What is. When this becomes the definition of your own life, what is, you reach a state of unshakable equanimity. Nobody, no situation, not even death can move you away from this equanimity. Yeah. But the way to get to this equanimity is to go through that experience of saturation without fooling your own self that, oh, I need to get out of this now. You see what I'm saying? Don't try to cover it up or push it under the carpet. Just be with it. Okay, I'm going through this right now. It is what it is. Yeah. That's when you will experience the true Vairagya. It's not to be understood intellectually. It is to be experienced. Yes. That experience of Bhagirath, he put in his words that is proper action beyond which there is nothing more to be gained, nothing more to be attained. Yeah, that supreme equanimity. Everything else is what? Foul excretion. Yeah. Sometimes Vasistha can be like really rude in his comments, but it's very true. Yeah. You run after money, keep running. You ask a millionaire, are you happy? He's saying, oh, I'll be happy when I get to a billion. You ask a billionaire, are you happy? Oh, I'll be happy when I get to a trillion. It's impossible to fill up this pot. Yeah. I've shown you 100 times and I don't have the pot today. Yeah, it's a bin pen deka lota, a bottomless pot. Our problem is we focus on filling up this pot and the water level should be at the top. But we are not focusing on that there is no bottom. It's a bottomless pot. There's a Mullah Nasruddin story about this. So in this story, Mullah Nasruddin is like a big guru, okay? He has attained the truth, the highest. So one disciple hears about Mullah and comes to Mullah and he says, oh, I really want to attain the highest truth. I have heard that you have the truth. Mullah says, yes, I have the truth, but do you have the faith? So he says, yes, I have full faith in you. He says, okay, if you have full faith, then just be with me. Just by being with me, you will realize the truth. And your faith should be unshakable. Then only you will realize the truth. So he says, okay, what do you mean by unshakable? He's saying, whatever I do, you should not question it. Yeah, then only your faith is unshakable. He says, okay, that's easy. He says, okay, now I'm going to the well. I have to fill water. Come along with me. So he takes him. So he throws his bucket into the well. Yeah. He has a pot on the side. The pot was already sitting at the well. So the new disciple did not see the pot before. He pulls water out of the well with his bucket and he puts it into the pot. And this is an amazing pot. It has no bottom. All the water seeps to the ground and the disciple jumps away and he's like, oh. And Mullah doesn't care about that. Mullah again puts the bucket into the well, again draws out the water, again fills the pot, again it goes off. Again Mullah does that. After 4 or 5 times, the disciple tells him, okay, either you are stupid or something's wrong with me. I have no intelligence. What are you doing? So then Mullah said, see, your faith is not unshakable. You do not have faith. You are not worthy of the highest truth. He said, no, but I mean, there must be something. I mean, what are you trying to do? He says, you must go away. You are not worthy of the truth. And the disciple, and he goes home. He could not sleep the whole night. The disciple kept thinking, Mullah was trying to say something to me. And I, in my stupidity and ignorance, could not see what the message was. So next morning, he comes back to Mullah and he says, I apologize. I'm sorry. Please could you tell me what was the hidden message? He said, you are trying to fill your pot. Earlier you were trying to fill your pot with material things. Now you are trying to fill your pot with spiritual heights, with spiritual truths. But you don't realize that your mind does not have a bottom. You will never ever attain the truth if you focus on filling the pot to the top. Your focus is wrong. Drop this. Recognize that this mind is a bottomless pot and it can never be satiated. And be with that. That is the truth. If you realize this, if you recognize this, you have achieved it. There is nothing left to achieve in this world. That itself is enlightenment. Homework number 3. Have you recognized that your mind is a bin pende ka lota, a bottomless pot? So Bhagirath goes to Tritala and he asks him, Lord, how can one put an end to this sorrow and to old age, death and delusion which contribute to repeated birth here? Now Tritala answers, sorrow ceases, all the bondages are rent asunder and doubts are dispelled. How? When one is fully established in the equanimity of the self. Is that sufficient to do it for 5 minutes? No. For 10 minutes? Okay, 1 hour. 1 hour meditation should be sufficient, no? I'm equanimous, no reactions. 1 hour should be good. Throughout the day, whether there is experience of joy or experience of sorrow, doesn't matter. You maintain your equanimity. Day after day after day, month after month, year after year, for a long time. So second condition is for a long time. When the perception of division has ceased, and when there is experience of fullness through the knowledge of that which is to be known. Perception of division has ceased means what? I see everything as I and you. You are separate from I. That is why ego comes up. That is why I don't like what you said. Then I react to you and you react back to me. So I am lost in Dvaitam. And this Dvaitam is creating problems in life. Till the time this Dvaitam does not cease, there will be no equanimity. There cannot be peace. That is why Advaitam needs to be attained. And how can Advaitam be attained? Only when you recognize that, oh, I and she, I and he, I and her, oh, we are all the same Purusha. There is no difference. That is like my finger, that is like my hand, that is like my toe. It is my own body. How can I hurt myself? Then there is only compassion. And there is only love. You reach that state of Advaitam only after the practice of equanimity for a very long time. Got it? Equanimity itself will propel love in you. Equanimity itself propels compassion in you. And just that practice of equanimity takes you to a level where there is ultimate peace. And then there is automatic dropping of the Dvaita. You don't have to drop that feeling of I and you. It just drops. Got it? And there is the experience of fullness through the knowledge of that which is to be known. When we are all the same Purusha, when we are all one, there is that welling up of love, of happiness, of joy. And it happens to you in certain spurts, in certain moments, when life is just quiet, when there's no particular excitement in life and no particular bad thing happening in life, just quiet. There are these moments where you just well up with joy for no reason. There's just this happiness, there's this feeling of fullness. You don't know, why am I happy? There's really nothing to be happy about. Yeah, the mind wants a reason and the mind is looking, oh, maybe I'm happy because she's in my life, or maybe I'm happy because I got this thing. The mind looks, the intellect is looking for a reason outside. And we usually hook onto that and believe that is true. But really, when you learn to unhook from the external and start looking inside, you will notice that this fullness just comes up as a part of your nature. When you reach this state that Ritala is talking about, you are constantly in that state of fullness. And fullness does not vanish. What is to be known? It is the self which is pure and which is of the nature of pure consciousness, which is omnipresent and eternal. Again, theoretically, if you just think, oh, I am the self, is that good enough? No, it's all intellectual. You need to experience it. And because for lifetimes I have practiced being lost in external people, situations and things, it's very difficult for me to go within and suddenly experience my own self. It might not happen in 5 years of meditation, it might not happen in 10 years, it might not happen in a lifetime even sometimes. Yeah, because the mind is so caught up outside. Yeah. But for some lucky people, it happens instantly. You just keep practicing. You just keep walking on this path. Because anyway, it's a one way. There is no going back now. You've realized that? Come what may, you cannot go back. You can stop. You can stop where you've reached on this path. Yeah, you take a long break. Go to sleep if you want. But there's no going back even a single step. Yeah, it's a one-way street. So now you keep walking, keep moving. Everybody moves at their own speed. Do not compete with another person. You get there at your speed. But again and again, I insist that you should not indulge in blind faith. Yeah? It should be your own experience. So when you experience the self, then you say, I am pure consciousness. Not till then. This is exactly what Buddha taught. Yeah? Buddha said, anatta, no soul. Everybody thought Buddha does not believe in the Atma. No, what he said is, till the time you do not experience it, you will not say anything. You cannot say there is a soul. You cannot say I am Atma. You don't say I am God or there is a God because you have not experienced it. Yeah? He said that do not believe me just because Buddha is saying it. No, it has to be your own experience. So you recognize that experiencing only will bring real faith in you. Yeah, and still, if you don't have faith, this is the reason. Only one simple reason, that you have not experienced it yet. Clear? Bhagirath asked, I know that the self alone is real and the body, etc. are not real, but how is it that it is not perfectly clear to me? Isn't this your question also? Why is this your question? Because you have not experienced it. Clear? I am saying take this one step further. Do not indulge in blind faith. Means just because Ekta says there is a soul, I will not say there is a soul. I am not going to disrespect or condemn another person who has reached there, but I am not going to be in blind faith. I'm going to now make an earnest effort to sit in meditation, go within, experience that silence and reach that experience that Ekta has reached, or somebody else has reached, or Guruji has reached. I will take them as an inspiration, as somebody who's showing me the signboard to walk a particular path, but then I will not indulge in blind faith. Because what does blind faith do to you? Okay, there is God, there is self. Yeah, I have not seen it, but I believe it, and that's it. That's good enough. Then I have stopped making an effort. Are you seeing this? How many of you have realized that this has happened to you on the path? Yeah. You stop making an effort because you believe somebody else. Yeah. There is no need to go around pointing fingers or raising questions or condemning somebody or disrespecting somebody. I am saying take that as an inspiration to go within, meditate, make that effort to reach your own salvation. Yes? So if you stop meditating, what's the next homework? Start meditating again, and every day for your own self. Yeah? Because I want to reach salvation, and the only way I am getting there is through my experience. I cannot get there through your experience, can I? You study medicine, you become a doctor, you become a great surgeon. Yeah, and you explain everything to me. You come home and you explain every single day. Will I become a surgeon? No. Are you seeing this? I need to go through my own study, my own self-effort, my own hospital rounds, my own experience with patients, my own fumbling and stumbling with surgery, and then I will become a surgeon. Correct? My own experience will take me there. Same thing happens on the spiritual path. Got it? That is why Bhagirath has this question, and that is why you have this question. That it is not perfectly clear to me. And it is not clear because you have not made an effort. And why have you not made an effort? Because you are stuck in blind faith. Very clear between what is blind faith and what is real faith? Very, very clear? Yeah. So from today onwards, you start meditating. That's your homework number 3. That is the only way to get there. Yeah. Meditation and knowledge. Just by me reading it to you is not good enough. You reading it again when I give you homework, then you sitting and analyzing, you trying to understand, oh really, why am I not getting this? Why do I not get it? Why I get it after somebody explains, oh, I'm not making enough effort from my side. In this only, if there was some board exams, yeah, how much more effort you would have put in, no? Yeah, just like a material side, we had a spiritual school and a spiritual exams and a spiritual name, fame, position. How much more effort you would have put, right? Yeah. Imagine it if it is not there. Yeah, somehow push your mind. Make an effort to get there. Clear? Let's see what Tritala said. Such intellectual knowledge is not knowledge. Unattachment to wife, son, house, equanimity in pleasure and pain, love of solitude, being firmly established in self-knowledge, this is knowledge. He's very, very clearly underlined it, what it is. Unattachment to wife, son and house. Number one, you check how much attachment is there to wife and husband. Husband is in brackets. Yeah? Invisible brackets are there. And son or daughter and house. House here means money also, your car also, all your material possessions. Yeah? Homework number 4. How much attachment do you have to these 3 things? Equanimity in pleasure and pain. Yeah? When there is dukkha in life, does your graph go down? When there's sukha in life, do you jump up? Is that still happening? Check, check, check. Love of solitude. Do you really like solitude? Ask yourself this question. Homework number, I'm losing count now, 5. Very, very few people enjoy being with themselves. Why? Because this mind is stuck in external people, situations and things, and it wants that only all the time. If there are no people, situations or things and life is absolutely peaceful, harmonious, you say it's very boring. Have you noticed? There is no drama in life happening. And you don't even realize that you are looking for drama. When that drama comes, you say, oh, I don't want this. But in the absence of drama, you are missing the drama. Recognize this tendency of the mind. Yeah? You crave for drama constantly. That is why you do not enjoy the company of your own self. A wise man reaches a state where the attachment to people, situations and things automatically drops off. He reaches that state of equanimity where really there is no thirst for drama. And he loves being at peace, and peace is very easily attained in solitude. Yeah? So you check. Next homework, number 6. Do you like solitude or do you run away from solitude? Being firmly established in self-knowledge. Just reading knowledge once a week is not sufficient. Applying this knowledge really when situations come up. When somebody says something to you, somebody criticizes you, are you able to take that criticism? Or do you bounce it back on other people, blame other situations, give excuses? Yeah? Check. Are you able to apply self-knowledge when your spouse or your family member is angry with you? Yeah? Check. These are the real tests in life. Yeah? When you're really in a not so happy situation, are you able to apply that self-knowledge? check, check, check. Yeah. Only all these are self-knowledge or knowledge, he says. Intellectual knowledge is not knowledge. He's very, very clear. So if you think you're going to finish this book in 6 months and then you are, very knowledgeable, is it true? No. If you've applied it, if it has become a part of your nature, yes, you are knowledgeable. But if it is still not reflecting in your nature, it's been 3 years since we started this book. If it is still not reflecting in your nature, something is amiss. What is that? Look for that. What is going wrong? Somewhere I'm not applying this knowledge. Clear? All else is ignorance. Only when the ego sense is thinned out does this self-knowledge arise. This is very important. Till the time you are lost in ego, you will never ever have self-knowledge. It's impossible. Self-knowledge happens only after you drop I. That is where we give a lot of importance to seva, because seva is all about you. Somewhere in the physical world I get an experience where I do something which is not for I or mine. I do it for you. But there also people can really make it dirty where, oh, I did this, I am so great, now you pat me on the back, now you say I am good, or you say thank you. How dare you didn't say thank you to me? Finished. All these things make seva totally polluted. Then you're not experiencing that true non-I state. So start working on it. If you have not experienced that state of no I, then you must somewhere start making that effort. Ask Jayashree, she'll give you some local seva. If there is no local seva, reach out to me. I'll give you some online seva. But do some seva for others where there is no I. Going beyond I is the true experience of knowledge. Bhagirath asked, since this ego sense is firmly established in this body, how can it be uprooted? Tritala replied, by self-effort. And by resolutely turning away from the pursuit of pleasure. For example, even if I'm doing a little seva, what is going to bring me pleasure? You say, oh, great job. You say, thank you. This you saying something, this expectation in my mind, that is my pursuit of pleasure. So every little thing, recognize your pursuit of pleasure. And drop it. He says, turning away from the pursuit of pleasure. And by the resolute breaking down of the prison house of shame, which is false dignity. If you abandon all this and remain firm, the ego sense will vanish and you will realize that you are the supreme being. Clear? You start working on yourself. If you have still not started, meditation and knowledge coupled together, both hand in hand are required. That is self-effort. If you manage to make that self-effort, if you manage to turn away from pleasure, and if you can break down this prison house of shame, basically I again. False dignity is nothing but ego. I am something. I am something. I am something. Till the time you are stuck in I am something or someone, you are stuck in the prison house of false dignity. These are the 3 techniques he's given you, 3 ways, 3 methods. Yeah? It's not either or. All 3 have to be applied. Self-effort, turning away from the pursuit of pleasure, and dropping that prison house of false dignity, or breaking away from that house of false dignity. Clear? That's your last homework, applying these 3. This week, keep observing yourself. Keep observing. Every time the ego comes up, observe how it says, oh, I am somebody. I am something. How does she say that to me? What did he say? Why did he say something like this? What does he think I do? I don't do seva or what? Only he does seva or what? See how ego comes up. When ego comes up, recognize, oh, I have some pursuit of pleasure. I'm looking for appreciation. I'm looking for something. There is an expectation. It's a pursuit of pleasure. And how do I get over this? By self-effort. Right now, I'm just going to observe that burning inside me, where I'm looking for that experience of you patting my back, you saying something good, that experience. And I'm just going to burn in that sensation. Just observe. It takes a lot of self-effort to just burn in that and not react. Reacting is so easy. Yeah? Lot of self-effort to withdraw from reaction and just be. Yeah? Vasistha says, only then can you get there. Very clear? Yeah? So you apply this. Tritala's technique is very short and crisp, but it is the entire knowledge in a nutshell. This plus the previous line where he says intellectual knowledge is not knowledge. He's given everything to you in a very small capsule. An unattachment to wife, son, house, equanimity in pleasure and pain, love of solitude, and being firmly established in self-knowledge. Only this is knowledge. These 3-4 capsules that Tritala has given is the supreme truth. If you can attain even one of these 4, you have achieved it. Clear? Now next page is just the continuation of the story, where there's just story. And there is no knowledge. You have to read the next page. I will not read it. I will directly go to page 288 next week. Yeah, with Sikhi Dwajar and Queen Kudala's story I will start. You have to read page 287. Yeah? I'll see you next week. Jai Gurudev.